Don't worry.
Hi everyone, it's Emma Darcy from the Marketing Success Summit and welcome back. And today we have the delightful Emma Brooks in the house. So welcome Emma, and thank you so much for being a speaker.
Thank you, Emma. It's a pleasure to be here.
So guys, for anybody that doesn't know Emma is a brand designer and a web designer. So she combines the two skills, which are really, really important. I know many of you are doing your own websites, or indeed you'll be getting other people to look at them. And Emma is a fantastic lady in terms of making key decisions about your brand, about your colors, about fonts. And I let her go into all of that. But, you know, such a lovely lady based down in Bristol. I'll eventually get all my geography right with the UK. So again, welcome Emma, and I'm so delighted that you're here to share your vast knowledge with us.
Thank you, Emma. Yeah, I'm a brand designer. I have spent 20 years in the corporate world, 16 of those spent in retail. So I have a lot of background in customer service, working with exceeding the customer's expectations. 16 years from going from a checkout girl all the way up to working for IT management. I then subsequently worked for a large global financial company as an analyst. From there, that also involved doing a lot of looking at data, analysing performance and how we can improve the customer's experience. So again, it was still that IT based, but it was still, the main focus was improving or exceeding the customer's expectation.
Fantastic, that's great. What we might get you to do, Emma, when you're ready, is maybe, I know because you've got a presentation ready to share, so if you want to work away and blow us all away with all of your knowledge, and hopefully this will help people just make some key decisions about their branding. So thank you.
Certainly. Thanks, Emma. Well, hello everybody. There we go. I'm just bringing up the screen. There, that's grand. Okay, so my business is called Emma Brooks Design. Previously, I had my business called 1123 Solutions. I found for my target audience that became very corporate, whereas I worked with so many lovely, soulful, creative entrepreneurs. So I have recently rebranded. So throughout this presentation, you'll see different elements of my brand, and hopefully you can see where my brand fits in with what I'm going to talk to you about today. To talk more about who I am a soulful creative. My purpose is to help you. I am so passionate about brands and web designs, and I'm always looking for the best solutions. 9 times out of 10, a client will turn around and say, oh, I've been thinking of doing something.
Hi everyone, I'm not sure. Emma, you've frozen there. Can you hear me?
Some of my clients are holistic.
Sorry, Emma, you might just repeat that. I think you froze there for a couple of seconds.
Sorry. Some of my clients are soulful, some of them are creative, some are a combination of both. But I don't limit it to that. It's that kind of audience that, you know, I'm here to help everybody, whether that be from just the smallest little plugin that they might need for their WordPress website, or if they need full-on branding through to website development. And the key important thing that I also offer is aftercare. My aftercare is where I have the highest retention of clients who come back, and we work on project after project. So what do? I do creative direction. So primarily I might have clients come to me who are looking for a bit of direction. They don't know what they want for their brand. And 9 times out of 10, it's about taking them back to basics. and actually making them find out what motivates you in the morning, what gets you out of bed, to understand what is your purpose, why are you doing this? Are you doing it to pay the bills? Are you doing it because actually it's what you absolutely love? So we look at all these different elements, and we look at how we can come together and forge a brand based on all of their desires, and ultimately how we can fulfill their customers' dreams of making them the ideal business. I also do brand mentoring. I have for the last year worked with clients where we would sit and brainstorm where they're going next in their business. We would look at the branding that they have and whether it might need a few little tweaks depending on what they're launching with for their new product and new service. And again, sometimes it might be a kick up the backside, or it might just be a gentle nudge to say, come on, you are good. You are truly, truly good at what you do. Let's make everybody aware of it, because we're not all, I would say, we don't all sing our own praises enough. And I think that's a key thing where I encourage my clients to get that onto their website. So my story, I'm a Brummie, born and bred, but like to think of Bristol as my home. I share it with my fiance, who's an Ulster man, and we have two furry felines, which you can see on the screen, Sprout and Stevie, who are our little boys. They make our home. So as I said earlier, 16 years retail, 5 years in IT management. I worked primarily on service level management, looking at service level agreements. So I understand what the very basic need is for my clients or for the customer, and then always work on continuously improving the service, adapting, because at the end of the day, our story never ends. As a brand, as a business entrepreneur, we are constantly evolving to meet the needs of our customers' requirements. Therefore, your story should be the never-ending story. So what is a purposeful brand? It's kind of my tagline. It's something I'm very passionate about. And it's that when you go somewhere and you're just overwhelmed at how you've been treated by that service, you know, the brands that just get you as a person, they know what you need and everything's there for you. And that's what my purpose is in creating brands and websites for my clients. I want a brand that excites and delights my customer. I want it to be a complete pleasure for them to come to your website, to pick your business card up, whichever touch points your customer touches. And the way I refer to it is, it's that purpose. You know, sometimes you might be going on holiday and you can't wait to jump out of bed because, you're going on holiday. And it's that purpose that I want you to feel within your business, because that's what your brand is delivering for you. So one of my key catch lines is that if your brand hasn't got you reach it, or if your brand has you reaching for the snooze button, then I think we need to have a chat and look to see how your brand can be made to give you purpose. When we talk about brands, this is one of my favourite quotes that I absolutely love. It's from Robert Blanchard, who is a former Procter & Gamble executive. And I'll read it to you. A brand is the personification of a product, a service, or even an entire company. Like a person, a brand has a physical body, as in the product, service it provides. Also, like a person, the brand has a name, a personality, character, and reputation. Like a person, you can respect it, like it, even love a brand. You can think of it as a deep personal friend or merely an acquaintance. You can view it as a dependable or undependable, principled or opportunistic. Just as you like to be around certain people and not others. Also, like a person, a brand must mature and change its product over time. But its character and core beliefs shouldn't change. Neither should its fundamental personality and outlook on life. People have character, and so do brands. A person's character flows from his or her integrity, the ability to deliver under pressure, the willingness to do the right thing rather than what is expedient. You'll judge a person's character by his or her performance and the way he or she thinks and acts in both good times and especially the bad. And this is exactly the same as a brand. So when you're thinking of creating your brand, these are the things you need to think about. One of the key things that plays a role in brands, which I didn't realise when I first came into branding, graphic designer, I was very much let's build a logo, and what colours do you like? And then over time, you start to understand the psychology of brand identity. And a big key player in that is the colour that we use. So colour plays a huge part in life. I mean, could you imagine it if everything was grey, black or white? If there was no colour, there'd be no traffic lights, there'd be no hot and cold taps. So there is nowhere that colour does not exist. It is light and our bodies absorb it through our eyes. If you close your eyes, you can still see it. You can still dream in colour. Colour affects us whether we like it or not. It gives us feelings. We all love a red heart on Valentine's Day. You know, a Christmas tree is green. These are all key colours that actually make items recognisable. So in brand colour, there are 11 basic colour terms. And these are black, white, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, brown, and grey. Every other colour that we have and use is either from nature, food, or drink. Whether that be lavender as a plant, whether that be sage, these are all additional colours. But fundamentally, there are 11 colours. Each colour has its own psychological meaning. Both have negative and positives. This screen is a little bit small to read, but I wanted to put this on because I wanted you to be able to see it should you download this. And I have listed a wide range of every colour and the positives and negatives associated with them. So for example, yellow, its positives. It's a physical comfort, food, warmth, security, sensuality, passion, abundance and fun. The negative side of that is is irrationality, fear, emotion, fragility, depression, anxiety, and even suicide. So we can see that how one person looks at a colour as a positive, another person can see it as a negative, and also in what circumstance it is used. I'm just going to move this across here because I want you to see the right theory. So colour is not one of those things that has really been researched. And there is a lady called Angela Wright who made a major breakthrough in understanding colour psychology. She looked at colour and she thought there had got to be some sort of psychology and link to human behaviour, because colour is light, it comes from nature. Surely the two must have some connection. After many years of exploration, which included studying Freudian psychology, dynamics of colour, she found the patterns she was seeking. Having identified links between patterns of colour and patterns of human behaviour, she wrote a theory in 1984, and from her research, she was able to develop colour effect system. Oh, please bear with me. So the colour effect system is where it clusters colours into groups of families. So there are 4 colour families, and there are 4 basic personality types. So there are 4 colour families, and within each, every colour naturally harmonises. So within a colour family, any of those colours will go with one another. The moment you take a colour from one of those other colour families, then it doesn't work. You might like it and you might be persistent and you may say, but I like those colours and I want them together, which is fine. But in the long term, it will not work for your brand. And this is where, as designers, when we look at colours and we say to clients, actually, those colours might not be suitable. Have you thought about these colours? Because we're looking at colour harmonies and we know which colours work well together. Colours from different families. Again, each family has their own harmony of colours and each works. But again, any crossover and you're not going to get the harmony and you're not going to get that connection with your personality types. So there are 4 basic personality types. Each personality type has a natural affinity with one colour family. So that colour family will always be associated to that particular personality type. And that then will always be a connection, a strong bond. And if you get that combination right, then you're on a winning formula for your brand identity. Okay, so you will learn how things work and you will even find yourself wanting to amend your brand style. You'll want to create that reaction that makes your customers want to buy from you. Colours work at a subconscious level. Understanding how colour psychology works will empower you to make your brand work for you. You only need to take a look at nature to see the different moods. Nature has a way of showing us when it's dawn, when it's dusk, or when spring has arrived. Nature changes its mood dependent on the season or the time of day. And one other thing I just wanted to touch on for you was that none of these colours are right or wrong, good or bad. If we take red as an example, it's a colour of physical strength. You think of it as you've just done a workout, you're all hot and sweaty, so you've got a red face. It raises your blood pressure and it physically stimulates. But how the stimulus is perceived, it could either be exhilarating and exciting, or it could be aggressive and demanding. So it's about the perception. So no colour is a good or a bad. It's just how it's used and how its stimulus is perceived. And I think that's really key, because I don't want anybody thinking, oh, I can never use red or I can never use black. So this is the first of, let me just move that across. This is one of the first colour groups. So colour group 1 This is a personality type 1, and it's what we refer to as a season or as a part of the day of which nature has brought us. So with nature, you can tell whether it's spring, you can tell whether it's morning. So the signs that you can see with a brand that represent are, think of nature as reborn, spirits lifted, light and warmth return. So it's that classic spring is in the air, spring glams. Think of a crocus bulb just peeping through the soil. The snow is melting, you have dewdrops, people become warm, light, friendly, they're extrovert, outgoing, gracious, really good communicators, and they need plenty of light. They're a bubbly person. And this is essentially where the two work so well together. When you look at the colours, they're warm and essentially tint colours. Clarity is at the heart of this. If you look at the images that I've provided to the side, so these were some samples that I made. These are a classic example of what a spring brand would look like. So you have a beautiful yellow daffodil, for example, represented with the yellow here. You have the beautiful green, almost turquoise green. And again, that is representative of the new shoots that come after the blossom on the trees, when you see new buds arrive in the early spring. Then we see how with the different colours, how they just work. So for example, they all complement one another. Nothing's fighting with the other one. They're working in harmony. Also, you'll see that there are specific fonts as well. So here, for example, we're using something that reflects the clarity of what spring brings. So here, for example, it's easy to read. Think of spring as being very retro as well. Very full of round circles and shapes. Colours that would describe a spring are scarlet, emerald green, coral, watermelon, peach, sunshine yellow, aquamarine, turquoise, cobalt blue, sky blue, lilac, violet. And a really important thing here is that the neutrals that you associate with these colours would be a cream, a camel, or a light grey. So there's no dark colours in this palette. Even navy blues will be a light warm. There are greys, but they have buoyancy and are supportive. And you can see here with the grey in the radial of colours that the grey works as a nice balance with the turquoise, the daffodil, and the coral colour. So all working in perfect harmony. And I think for any brand, it's fresh and vibrant. This brand is really, you would be looking for clothes designers, children's shops, photographers, creative marketing, PR agencies even. Somebody who's bursting with enthusiasm, energy, because just think of the energy that spring bulbs need to come through the cold frosty ground of winter. So it's a really, for me, this is one of my all-time favourite seasons. It just works perfectly, and it's so what's needed after the cold winter. So personality type 2 and colour group 2. Here, it's a little bit different. So Gone is the vividness of the colours that we experienced in spring. But think of hazy summer days, lavender, sun-bleached linens. The type of people will be cool, calm, collected, understated, definitely crave order and balance, and they won't miss a trick. And they'll be very highly intelligent. And virtually all the colours are tones with a high percentage of grey in them. So think about in the summer, everybody likes to get married in the summer. It's when we have good weather. It's good time for getting together. We have light evenings, so we have more daylight. Think of the sun intensity at midday. So when you try and look at colours, you're almost blinded by the sun, so you don't see the full vibrancy of a colour, and that's why we associate with the sun bleached. Then we perhaps look at putting those colours with a taupe, a cool navy, a mid-grey or an oyster. Again, very classic colours of a wedding party, especially cream and navy, and oyster perhaps for a wedding dress. While some colours are dark, they're never heavy, but they will be subtle and delicate. So think of, you could have a beautiful bridesmaid dress in a deep plum, but the delicateness of the lace that goes with it. These are the things that you would harmonise. So where you're using swirls and patterns, think of summer is a season that needs swirls, it needs grandeur, it needs elegance, and these are the key things to look for. I always think of a grand stately home. I think of the swirling banisters, the architraves in the room. Again, all different elements, and how you can take parts of those and bring those into your brand. So a summer or dream light, because that's obviously midday and summer obviously being the season, these are brands that would be representative by wedding advisors, photographers. We'd be looking at well-established, serious companies, creative professionals, jewellers especially. Again, there's that link to wedding with jewellers. And this is, again, a classic example of a brand I designed for a client who was a holistic healer. So again, very spiritual as well. Anything to do with beauty as well would fall under the summer. And then we come on to autumn. I'm autumn. Emma Brooks Design is all about autumn. It is the core of my business. So for me, it's where I'm passionate, the purposefulness, that, you know, I'm fully committed. I'm in it for the long haul. Substance over style, very inquisitive minds, and I will question everything. And yeah, very, very passionate about everything I do. Put my heart and soul into things, and this is that type of brand. And again, nature puts on a full show for us. It must be one of the seasons with so many different vibrant colours. And again, when you think about autumn, there are, so for example, in my colour palette, I'm looking here at Harvest Festival colours. Think of how, as leaves die off, wheat being harvested, golden of the corn, all of these are colours that are the last remaining colours before hibernation for the winter. And for me, I actually didn't think they were autumn when I first chose these colours, when I first went through my brand, but they are very deeply rooted. Other colours which will be more vibrant, think of a poppy. Again, November is remembrance time. We wear a poppy. Flame, burnt orange, rust, pumpkins, Halloween, mustard, butter yellow, leaf green, olive green, forest green, teal blue. Teal blue is especially nice to use as a darker colour to go with an autumn palette. Aubergine, warm burgundy. Again, these are all part of that new thing that we have at the moment, Hugo, which is all about the coziness, the warmth, the embracing. The neutrals that would appear with this personality and colour combination are mainly anything from a dark brown to a light stone colour. There's not really going to be a grey here. My colour palette has a very dark sage green in it, and also a very, very light green as a contrasting colour. But when you look at them, they don't look it to the mind's eye. They are a very fine tint and mixture. So the nearest colour I would get to grey would be a stone beige or a green, which I've used here. I think as well with autumn, it's a real time of reflection, being thankful, and it's a chance to, again, reconnect. It's a very organic season. So if you have an organic business, then this is definitely a brand to look at. I would say things, for example, where a background to your website may be a wooden background, any flat lay photography that you take, that also may be a wooden table, maybe floorboards, fir pine cones, anything that nature that gives to us. Patterns you might find for your website, maybe leaves. You may have, I recently had a blog post up where I had little berries, winter berries. So all of these things are really good elements to go with your brand. Then we move on to the last and final colour group and personality type, which is group 4. Winter. When I think of winter, I think of a classic film of, I can't think, mine's gone blank, but it's that one, we're walking in the air. The Snowman. I couldn't think of it. Apologies. To me, that is just winter. It's where you see the bleakness. It's where you might see a tree that is dark and very empty of leaves. So you just see the skeleton of the darkness in the landscape. Think of snow-topped mountains. But at the same time, there's that grandeur associated with a winter landscape. People are treated instantly with respect with this type of brand. It's what goes hand in hand with luxury. We're talking high-end brands. Think of Coco Chanel, Jo Malone, BMW. High-end brands are what we would class for winter. We would expect them to be. They are perfectionist, efficient, forward-thinking, don't suffer fools gladly, need space. They don't get involved in tantrums or drama. And this is the only season where we use pure black and pure white. It's the only season that can take it. Every other season, you can have, for example, charcoal or a dark navy or a burgundy. And instead of white, you may have an apple white. You may have a tint of pink, for example, but you'll never have that solid polar white starkness. Those colours only work with winter. There are no tones associated with winter, so you won't find a say, for example, a gold and a pale pink. It will be magenta pink. It will be neon pink. It won't be a pastel or a rose pink. And colours, again, pillar box red, Christmas, after all. It's what we'd expect to see. Santa Claus. Shocking pink. You can see in this brand that I created for my client. Mama's Hive, Queen Bee. Every colour is a solid colour. There are no tones used whatsoever. Gold is used very much as well in winter. Gold can be used in any season, but in winter it adds that touch of luxury. Also, when you look at fonts, it can either be very minimal or very flamboyant. So you could have a very strong script font, or a very trying to think of the word, but as you can see in this example with Katie Bat, it's a very, very modern font, clean lines, very minimalistic. So even how the fonts are used with different seasons makes a huge impact to how your clients react. Pistachio, jade green, creme de menthe, royal blue, ice blue, all of these colours are all associated with winter. You're not going to use any fluorescent colours anywhere else apart from winter. Again, there's no creams, there's no beiges, or all about the starkness. It's about drama, it's about perfectionism and pure luxury. So that is me covered for your first insight to what is colour psychology. So for me, just to recap for you, there are 4 groups of colour and there are 4 personality types, and each is associated and paired together. And when you use them together, they are perfect harmony and balance for your brand. Any brand that uses this colour effect system, which was a theory from Angela Wright, cannot go wrong with creating a brand. There are other designers. So Fiona Humberston is a fantastic lady. She has written a book, How to Style Your Brand, and in there she talks in much detail about colour psychology, how you use the 4 seasons. I've actually attended one of her workshops, which was totally amazing. And from there, I then got hooked into wanting to know more about colour psychology. I've read more about Angela Wright's work, an absolutely amazing lady. She has also there has been now, I think it was in 2000, where it was found that there's also a mathematical link between the colour and the personalities. Again, looking at personalities, archetypes is something that I'm very much into when I create a brand for my client. I like to know what kind of archetype or personality they are. I think it's the very foundation of understanding the type of clients they want as well, and how you'd put their clients into understanding them, knowing what archetype their client is, or how many archetypes their clients may fall into.
For sure, that's great.
And that's colour psychology. A very brief intro. And I'm no expert, but this is just what I have learned from reading through Angela Wright's work, having attended workshops with Fiona Humberston, reading her books, following her blogs, and implementing it, and it works. And we have very successful brand designs, and clients are happy, and so are their customers, I must add.
The most important part.
Definitely.
Well, that's fantastic, Emma. Thank you so very much. That's a terrific insight into colour and font. And it was something I definitely wanted you to have, to speak about, because I think it's an area that's often a mystery to people, in terms of what they should choose. And I see people getting into quite a quandary because they're just not sure. So I'm hoping, and I'm sure it will open people's eyes as to, what they should or could choose, and if they're making any decisions about new designs for leaflets even, or anything that they're thinking of doing, even maybe for Facebook or maybe a greater brand redesign, that this will definitely give them food for thought. So thank you so very much. That's absolutely amazing.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Not at all. So guys, if you want to contact Emma, there you can see it's emmabrooksdesign.com. You can tweet her at Emma Brooks Co. She's on Pinterest. She's on Facebook as Emma Brooks Design, and she's equally on Instagram with Emma Brooks Design as well. So basically, you can find her, Google her, and you will find her. I'll be sharing out all the links for all the speakers as I kind of have been doing, so that people can find them as well. So I know, guys, anybody that's been listening, I've been telling people to put pen to paper and take these down so that they do have these for a record. So again, thank you so very much, Emma, because I know you put a lot of thought and effort into that presentation. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure.
And again, guys, please do contact Emma, because this is really an area that's often overlooked. So thanks again, Emma.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Just give it a second. My computer is just gone phenomenally slow, which is not very helpful the last week.